Guys, the dreaded mute conversation in 2021. It is what it is. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on the time that you're watching this. Right now, it's morning. And today's discussion on the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago is quite interesting. Because if you'd like to learn how to retire while making a difference in Trinidad and Tobago, stick around. I'll be back with Nichole from Business Lifeline to share more. See you just now.
Your strategy has to involve your mindset, and your strategy then involves the actions that you take to move you from where you are to where you want to be.
I'll start with what Visa isn't, right? Visa doesn't issue credit card. We don't issue credit. So Visa doesn't do that, which surprises a lot of people.
We'll use a phrase like, things changed, but things don't change. People change things. All the legislation that has been passed, somebody advocated for that. And so International Women's Day is to commemorate that history of women making change.
Several of the banks have started to migrate their existing debit card portfolio to chip and pin EMV technology. So the SMEs are going to benefit from a wide range of customers who previously did not have a credit card but only had a debit card.
Good morning and welcome to the live series Straight Off the Bat, a show that covers the need to revive and survive and adapt to the new normal of COVID-19. Join us on Thursdays as we speak to individuals across multiple industries who will help you understand financial literacy and education. If you're joining us from Facebook, hey, thanks. Don't forget to like and follow our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money, because let's be honest, we all need that at this point in time. Today, we're discussing how to identify business opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. I have the great privilege to talk to Nichole, more specifically, Mrs. Nichole Joseph-Cupid. She's the CEO of Business Lifeline. She's an experienced business development expert with over a decade of executive management experience, spanning over public and private sectors. Additionally, she has an MBA in marketing management, and her face may look familiar because I'm sure you've seen her on her YouTube promotion, which I will ask her more about later. She also has a BBA in marketing, postgraduate certificate in management, and certification in accounting and law. And on top of all of that, she's a mom. Shout out to all the moms. As one who isn't, I have to say kudos to all of you. And she can also teach us a thing or two about movement, as she is a certified Latin dancer. That's a lot, Nichole. How are you going?
Thank you very much. Good morning, good evening, good night to all your viewers. And thank you for the opportunity to share with you this morning for us.
How do you manage all these things as somebody who is the CEO of a business and, managing all these different parts of your life? How do you do it? This work-life balance people keep talking about.
Well, interesting enough, I really don't have the magic formula. I just have to make it happen day by day. You try to do the effective time management thing, but if I were to be 100% honest, I'm really not that detailed. But of course, it's just about trying to keep some balance in your life. So I work hard and I have to find ways to play hard as well so I don't go crazy.
Well, thanks for that advice. And if you are just joining us, we're here talking about business opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. Shout out to Susan Singh, said good morning to everyone. Hey, thanks for joining us. If you are new to the shebang that we have here, usually we have questions, Q&As at the last 15 minutes. But not to worry, slide into the comments. I am here. I am your voice. I will ask all the questions for you. Now, let's get into the mix. When it comes to making money, because that's ultimately what everybody wants, what does it mean to have a business opportunity? Let's break it down layman terms as possible, because a lot of people understand the word business, we definitely know what it means to have an opportunity. But when you put those two words together, what does that mean?
It says that you are a great problem solver. Yes, because that is what really businesses do. Businesses provide solutions that people are willing to pay for. So, in order for you to really identify great business opportunities, it means that you have to have an eye for problems and know how as to solving them.
When it comes to solving problems, it's growing up in school with math, you have the columns outside, inside, dividing all these things. But when it comes to solving problems that bring you money,
Mhm.
how do you go about identifying that? Because a lot of people have this premise that entrepreneurship is glamorous. As somebody who's an entrepreneur, it's a lie. But let's hold on. But let's talk about that a little later. Let's talk about that a little later. But in terms of opportunity and money, give us a little breakdown there.
All right. So, of course, many people, it is a real challenge for a lot of people in terms of identifying opportunities that will make money, or should I say, make enough money. Because generally speaking, people are able to figure out ways of making money. You can do many things, you can sell many things, but the challenge comes in, or the business part comes in, where you need to make enough money to pay your bills and really impact your lifestyle. And it means that you have to be able to find somewhat unique opportunities, because if you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, then the problem is going to be that you may not necessarily be able to make enough money that is going to impact your life in any meaningful way. So you're going to be working very, very hard because you're competing with a lot of people, but you're not going to be getting a significant payoff for all of your hard work because you're doing what everybody else can do.
Yeah, that's a pet peeve of mine, and I feel like we need to address this right now. And you know, growing up in Barbados, so my mom's from Barbados. So my mom's dad had a what you call it, like a mini mart. Is what you call it in Barbados, and he always said, sell food and they will come. It will always happen, right? And I find that interesting because I've seen the same culture, especially with lockdown. There's this easy way to make money by selling food. So there's this perception that I'm just going to cook on behalf of, I'm just going to make money off of food because nobody wants to cook for themselves. What would you say to that person who's ready to start their food truck business?
I would definitely say to them that they need to tune into the long term vision, long range vision. So while it is true that everybody has to eat, so there seems to be a built in demand for food, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody will purchase from you. So it requires you to do a little bit more analysis and thinking. Reason being, you have to ensure that there is a sufficiently large number of people that will purchase from you. So, whilst everybody has to eat food on a daily basis, not everybody eats the same food, right? So you can't just assume, well, listen, I'm going to go out there on Friday and I'm going to do wings because people like to eat wings on a Friday. And I'm going to have an avalanche of customers coming to get my wings because wings is a Friday thing. Doesn't work like that. And then you also have to consider, listen, uh, producing wings because somebody next door to me is also producing wings, and somebody, couple meters down is also producing wings. People have choices. So what am I going to do that's going to convince them to come get my wings versus the other people's wings? Now, I can guess a simple answer would be, well, mine's taste better. But how are you going to even get them to the point to taste it? Yeah, that is going to impact your ability to actually make meaningful money. Yes. And of course, everybody's palate is a little bit different. So somebody might think yours tastes great, but somebody else might think not so great, not so impressed. I don't like it. So these are all factors that you have to consider. Now, it's maybe a Caribbean thing, but we like generalization. But if you're going to be good at business, you got to get a little specific. You have to dig a little bit deeper into the details, and you really have to look at ways that you can be different even if you're doing something that somebody else is doing. You have to be able to identify what's unique, what's different about your approach, and be able to communicate that effectively to the market if they're even going to come on board to sample and see what you got to offer.
Whew, I feel like we just squashed a few people's dreams.
That was not
Uh,
the intention.
but I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I really want everybody out there to know that at the end of the day, we are here from our own experience, and you have to make a decision ultimately as an entrepreneur. Because a lot of people have told me in the past, it's crazy to do what I'm doing, but I'm still here 10 years later. So ultimately, whatever we share here, the decision is yours. So going back to what you mentioned, which I find interesting because within my circle and my family, my sister goes to UE, and she's saying, a lot of her student friends would sell stuff to raise money, and it's usually associated to with sponsorship. When it comes to, and I don't want to beat the dead horse with the food conversation, but I find that in terms of getting the opportunity and it being in front of your face, we tend to say, okay, well, if this is the easiest way between me not having money and me having money, I'm going to do this. And what are the questions that you should ask yourself, or maybe a certain process to make sure that you, or try as much to make sure you're having the right decision making process? Do you have any tips on that?
So essentially, I would recommend the first thing is to identify what is your end goal. So, there's this maxim that says begin with the end in mind, right? With business, it's very important. So, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Now, again, the curse of generalization tend to kick in here with us. I want to make money. That's, a very common response. But you can't just stop at I want to make money. My next step to you would be to quantify how much money it is you really are working towards making. And that simple decision of quantifying how much you need to make will inform you what actions you need to take, what tools you need to use, or what is the best option in order for you to be able to make that amount of money. So it's like you're planning a trip to Maruga. There may be many ways that you could get to Maruga, but you need to get to Maruga within a specific time frame to achieve whatever it is you wanted to do at Maruga. So depending on your distance from Maruga, you may decide, listen, I'm close enough, I can walk and I'll get there in time and with minimal costs. Or you're going to decide you're going to ride a bicycle, you're going to take a car, you're going to take the bus. You have so many different ways that you can get there. But getting there must be, or the one that you choose must be decided in the context of what you're trying to achieve. So different people will take different routes to get to the same destination, depending on their circumstances. And that's why you have to quantify it so that you know, or it will inform you which are the best options for you.
You're speaking my gospel, because as a athlete, a finish line is so important. And I think that's such really great advice in terms of, we are in a society now where it's easy to be distracted. Facebook notifications, LinkedIn notifications. So it feels as though the world is moving faster than it has ever moved. But at the end of the day, we're still human, so technology is a exasperation of it. And I think it's quite interesting what you mentioned on, looking at your end goal. And when you said jumping on a bicycle, I'm like, you're talking to me or what? I do triathlon, so I was like, she know what, she know. All right, so we have spoken a lot about the business opportunities and what you shouldn't do. But let's talk about the options that are out there right after this break. We'll be right back, guys. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is Straight Off the Bat, just in case you didn't know, a show that covers the need to revive and survive, adapt to the new normal of COVID-19. Today, we're discussing how to identify business opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago with Mrs. Nichole Joseph-Cupid. No relation. I know we have the same last name. Well, she got married. So you're not going to find these conversations anywhere. So make sure to smash that follow button. We actually recently joined LinkedIn. So the conversations are sort of a smaller video of the clips of the lives that we're doing. So it's actually in your best interest to go follow us there. Go check it out. Now, when it comes to business opportunities, Nichole knows a few things about it as a CEO of Business Lifeline. She's an experienced business development expert with over a decade of executive management experience, spanning both private and public sector. Additionally, she has an MBA in marketing, which is very important if you're a business owner. It's so important for you to understand marketing. People think sales is important, but I feel like marketing, I might be a little biased for that, is even more important. Nichole also has a BBA in marketing and a postgraduate certificate in management and certification in accounting and law. Nichole.
Yes, Dale?
Can you tell us what's a very, as somebody who's certified in Latin dancing, what's an important move you should know? I feel like that's important. Before we get into how to identify business opportunities, let's talk about movement. What is a basic movement that I should know in Latin dancing?
Well,
what is it called?
Each different genre in Latin dancing has its own basic steps. So if you're doing bachata, if you're doing salsa, if you're doing merengue, or even kizomba, they come with their own basic steps. But what I tell you is key to any dance style that you do. It's all about balance. You have to be able to keep your weight balanced and manage your weight changes. And that word balance is really important because it's not just in dancing that you need to be controlling of your balance, but also in most aspects of your life, and definitely in business, balance is key. So you see, my dancing might be helping me improve my business skills as well. Yay!
I have embarrassed myself enough, guys. So let's talk about business opportunities. When it comes to options, because a lot of times you may have this desire but don't know where to redirect that energy to. And I'm biased because I'm in the tech space, but it's important to have sort of a general idea of what exactly is the direction that someone should go if they have this inclination to explore business opportunities, but they're not too sure where to go. So give us some examples. You have any?
Okay, so I think there are many lessons that could have been learned in the last couple of months, in the way things changed very drastically. People were forced at this stage to really look at life and business very differently, right? So someone looking to get into the market at this point in time, someone looking to start a business, I would really point them in the direction of looking at the different things they can do to support remote business operations. Whatever they're doing, they must be able to deliver their services both physically and remotely, right? So this whole evolution in terms of business and the way people have to do business and the way that we live now creates a whole its own demand, a whole new world of demand in terms of services and products in order to support the new way that we have to live. I mean, for example, previously, having courier services wasn't, I mean, you need courier services, but it wasn't like, top of the list kind of thing. But I mean, couriers have shot into the limelight over the last couple of months, over the last couple of years. I mean, over the last year, sorry. Again, because lifestyles have changed. So now it is a very highly demanded service, so you have to look at the opportunities now that will take us into the future, because most of us would recognize that life is not likely to revert to the way it used to be. We can kind of, pile that up into the history books and, look at how we are able to move forward. And while this is a very new thing for us here in Trinidad and Tobago, if we look at first world countries, if we look at the European countries, they have been living in this way for a very long time. You go to Norway, people hardly go to offices to go to work and stuff like that, because they have been working remotely for a good considerable amount of time. And that in itself creates new business opportunities. Now, of course, people have different skill sets, different desires. So every industry would now have new needs based on the new way that we operate.
And it's interesting that you mentioned how the first world staying in that home, working from home and so forth. I also would add the consumers in Trinidad and Tobago have also grown accustomed to e-commerce, because Amazon continues to be the top 10, if not the top 5 visited website in Trinidad and Tobago. So your customers have grown accustomed to not just paying with their card, but also waiting a week or two, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on the process, right? And we've accepted that because we want products. So when it comes to opportunities, especially with technology, skill sets will have to be added. Skill sets may have to change. Mm-hmm. And it may present a shift, which is very difficult, especially the older you get, just so hard to learn new things, right? What advice would you give to somebody who is thinking about going in a direction that requires upskilling?
So, Pauline, the advice that I will give to anyone who is interested in business, you must be committed to continuous learning. There will be very little success in business if you are not committed to continuous learning. So, we think that learning ends when school is done, but that's when your learning just begins. And it's not, some people may say, well, I'm not academically inclined. But when I say learning, I'm not specifically saying to you that you need to go into the school environment to do that learning. But you have to now position yourself. You have to now include into your daily routine things to help you grow and learn and embrace new opportunities and new developments daily. So whether or not you have to invest into the University of YouTube, where you can literally find so many resources and learn so many different things, you need to start with that commitment that says, I need to learn something today that I didn't know yesterday, because that is the most important thing for you to be able to keep pace or keep abreast of the market and be able to adapt and provide meaningful solutions. If you stand still, yeah, you're very likely to get left behind, and that's not where you want to be, right? So across the board, not just from the technical perspective, but across the board, if you have an interest in business, start your morning routine by dedicating, whether it might be just a simple 30 minutes, but start your morning routine dedicated to learning something new. I'm still learning every single day. I look forward to even interacting with my customers because I learn from them as well, you know. So learning is something that should be happening every single day.
Preach it. Reach. And speaking of the University of YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, hey, how are you? Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Yes, I said it. I'm not a YouTube vlogger, but I said it anyways. Smash it. Right? Because these conversations are so important to all of us as we try to figure out life, whatever it is right now. And if you want inspiration when it comes to the YouTube University, my mom learned how to sew a couple years ago, completely by YouTube. And I mean, she had a general idea, but she's now doing turbans and dresses, and she's literally any piece of cloth, she's like, give me it, and she's learning how to do it. And you know, she spring chicken, and if she could do it, I mean, what is your excuse? What is your excuse? That is so important. And you know, when it comes to resources, maybe we should, you know, cover some areas that we could actually look at. But before we get into that, I have a comment section, Bakan. This particular live session is not to address that. What you can do is, if you could just, we will send you a link where you could sign up and send your information, and we can respond there. And we have a few questions as well in the comment section. Shout out to Candice, who's joining us from YouTube. You know, it's so great that you guys are here joining the discussion. Now, I want to talk about, you know, where we can get the resources. I shouldn't say where, sorry. What are the resources you think that we should be looking towards in terms of skilling? Like, what does that look like? What's the biggest gap maybe that exists, as well as some business ideas? I wanted to melon that for a second because we're going to go on a break. I know that's a heavy question. And we have some questions as well from Elizabeth in the comment section. But don't worry, we will be right back. Welcome back to the Straight Off the Bat show. We cover the need to revive, survive, and adapt to the new normal of COVID-19. There's discussions to be had around financial literacy and education. Today, we're talking specifically about identifying business opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago, because let's be honest, we want to retire before our knees and our back and all kind of thing. I mean, it hurts now, but let's not reach a point where we can't move and then we still have to figure that out. We need to retire, guys, and be happy. No pressure, right? No pressure. Nicole's gonna solve that problem for us. If you don't know Nichole, she is the CEO of Business Lifeline. She's experiences in business development, which is extremely important for any business, because you can't survive without sales, and for that to happen, they need to have some level of business development. She also has an MBA in marketing management, which I want to talk to her about, because before this live session, I actually saw her face on YouTube. And I want her to share with you any tips she may have on the YouTube campaign that she was able to do for her business. What's the top takeaway, just one takeaway on the YouTube campaign you had for your business?
Building credibility, right? That is one of the greatest takeaways that you will have. So persons providing services have a unique challenge. So if you're providing a physical product, it's easy to give someone a sample. Everybody wants to know what I'm getting. But with a service, it's not as easy as it is with a physical product. So you can go to PriceSmart and every aisle you go down, someone's there to share a little sample with you. And you can try the product out before you actually make your purchase. And you feel a lot more confident in making that purchase. But as a service provider, it's not that simple to give a sample to people. So, of course, you have to get a lot more innovative in terms of how you can give or open that window to persons so that they know this is what I'm likely to get. And this is what my experience would be like. This is who I'm going to be interacting with. So it's really about giving a face to the business. It is about giving people an insight into the experiences that they will have, or, what kind of knowledge or interaction that they will be exposed to. And that works very well, because if we understand the buying cycle, or what a buyer goes through mentally before they make a decision, they are first going to become aware that a product or service exists. But not because they are aware that it exists means that they're going to make an immediate buying decision. We just have to think about ourselves, So you see something new come out, you see an ad that comes out, you want to know, who are these people? Who are the people behind it? Where they came from? This is the first time I'm seeing them. And then you start to question, because you want to be able to establish that you can trust the business. But how, on the business side, are they going to be able to show that you can trust them if they don't get the opportunity to interact with you, And then when you decide, well, all right, they look like they're a little trustworthy, they might know what they're speaking about, then you're going to say, well, look, am I really getting value for money here? So you start to evaluate. All of a sudden, you wasn't checking everybody else out, but now you're going to check everybody else out, and you want to compare, am I getting this versus that from the other one, and stuff like that, before you make that buying decision. So for service providers, you have that unique challenge in how do you address the various stages of the buying cycle before people get to your door. You may be very good at addressing it once they get there, but you have to get them there first. Yeah, so that's what that YouTube campaign would have been able to do for us as a business.
Well, kudos to you, because a lot of people are afraid of the camera.
We clearly don't have that problem.
Guys, it's not that hard. Don't worry. You can do it. And in that same breath, I want to talk about what I mentioned before the break and talk about opportunities. I'm very biased when it comes to opportunities. I just think tech. And, I'm always looking for bloggers. I'm looking for content creators. And when I have conversations around opportunities, it defaults to, guys, if you join us late, we were talking about food. We didn't poo-poo on your dreams, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are trying to sell food in order to get money, right? And there are a lot of different opportunities. I just think I know software development, all these things. But in the sense of the world that we're living in now, where working from home, I know it's now in our vocabulary, what are the top 3 opportunities that you think somebody should explore?
So I'm wondering if I may phrase that just a little differently, right?
Sure.
I want to suggest, first of all, to persons looking for opportunities, don't look for a copycat opportunity. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you do something that a lot of other people are doing, it means the basic law of demand and supply. If you have a lot of suppliers, then your price is going to come down. And if your price is coming down, it means that your profit margin is also going to get smaller, right? So we need to appreciate that not just because a business makes money, it means that the business is profitable. So you may be just making enough money or less money than you need to just pay off your bills, and you're not actually having anything surplus that can help build or improve your lifestyle. So the first thing I want to suggest when people are looking for opportunities is that we try to think outside the box a little bit. Let's try to look at how we can be unique. Then you want to look at, okay, what are the problems that people are experiencing? So now we've been forced into this world of this virtual world, existing in this virtual world, but adapting to the virtual world has not been a walk in the park for everybody. So just the fact that people are having difficulties adjusting, creating that bridge from the way we used to do it previously to the way it is now, it creates an opportunity for a bridge builder. Yeah, somebody who can connect the dots for them, somebody who can make it easier. Of course, that may point in the direction of technology, but technology is not the only way of making it easier, right? So, for example, you have the aging population. Of course, there are a lot of problems that would have now developed with the aging population because they are not able to go out and do things the way that they used to do it. And quite frankly, they're at the age where making a change to anything else is really, really hard. So how can you provide a solution to them? How can you provide a solution to someone who's not tech savvy or social media savvy and can't go online and get what they're looking for? That is an opportunity for you to provide a meaningful business solution to a problem that can earn you a meaningful source of income that can change your life. So you can change your life by changing someone else's own. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, and it's not just technical opportunities, right? I am saying to you, look at the problems, look at the different sectors of your population. So you have the aging population, you have the students, you have now parents, some parents who still have to physically go to work, but their children are at home and they are doing online school. And they have the same constraints. They didn't get an additional allowance that says, well, I can pay for supervision for the children at home. Now, remember, these children would have traditionally have been in school. What happened to the parents who are not tech savvy, but now they have to be able to support their children in a tech savvy world? All of these problems are business opportunities. Yes. So I'm telling you, if you're really looking to find a great business opportunity, take the time to look at the problems that people are experiencing in day-to-day living. And you will find top opportunities in just about every facet of life. Yeah. It's a different world. If we're talking about persons who are thinking, listen, where can I find a good product? Just think about in the last year, how the sales for webcams went up. Yeah. Before you go and ask a webcam, it's like, what? Who's used that? People don't use that anymore. And then suddenly, without the twinkling of an eye, all of a sudden it went up. But you have to now look at the products that people will now need more because they're operating in a remote environment. And that will also give you an indication of the things that you can sell that will also, provide a meaningful revenue stream.
It's fascinating because we have, and I'm guilty of this, where you see something become popular and then you think, well, it doesn't make sense because somebody's already in that space. When you think about Uber, for instance. Uber is the number one car sharing app, but then from that, there's all these subsets that were created. So Lyft is something, for those who don't know the car sharing space, is basically you get in a stranger's car and you pay via the app. And evolving from that, I was privileged to go to New York a couple of weeks ago, and the increase of delivery of food was insane. I mean, before it was there, it was Grubhub, all these different companies, but now it's just this massive, fast space. Everybody's on their bicycles and mopeds trying to deliver as fast as possible. And I literally saw somebody with 3 different companies in their bicycle delivering 3 different company food. And that tells us that there's an opportunity for us to even be in a space, because it's a subsegment of somebody who's already owned it, because we tend to think that if you can't, maybe I can't do this. And that point that you mentioned about the aging population, it's so factual and long term. It's scary because a lot of us aren't having children. So who's gonna take care of us? Where my money going and spend? How are you gonna help us old people, Nichole? Can you get the future? Go get the future person who's gonna help me. Tell them what to do, please.
Oh my gosh. You see, I was just about thinking, listen, I am not going to be an expert in that field because, listen, I have plenty children, right? So, but I'm saying to you, it needs, think needs. And when I think of the older folks, like you said, for someone who's older, I have no children of my own, and not technologically savvy. I may not be as mobile, so I don't have my own car that I could go and drive and get these things done and that kind of thing. How do I get access to the things that I need? So a simple thing like someone getting from a remote community to get to Pennywise. Yeah. It may be somebody with comorbidities and stuff like that. They may not be so desirous to get out and run the risk, but they need to get their supplies and they don't have someone to get their supplies. Now, of course, these companies offer the option where they can probably text their list. I know that they offer that now. You can text their list and you could come and pick it up, but I ain't really nobody texting and I can't pick it up. I have no means to pick it up. But who is providing a solution for me? Who's providing a solution for me, right? Who's providing a solution? And a lot of these things, you can think of it from a community basis. Look at the people in your community and what are the problems that they're having. Yes. So we go back to the children. There are a lot of children right now because circumstances are such that are unattended during the day. Yeah. And the parents may be doing the best that they can do, but these children are unattended. And some of them, because I have kids in school, are not really benefiting from online school because the camera's off, they're playing games, they're doing all sorts of stuff because they're unsupervised. Now, we could be flippant and say, well, the parents should do a better job. But for a single mother that is probably out there as a security provider, working 12 hours a day, barely making an income to make ends meet, how much more can I do? I don't have the support systems. So providing support solutions for these vulnerable groups are meaningful ways of creating business opportunities. Yeah. And you're creating that business opportunity by providing a solution that somebody really needs. And that's why I keep coming back to the point of look at the problems. We have lots of problems. Yeah. People out there. This one is another one that people may not think of sometimes. People have their pets, right? And people love their pets just like family members. Yeah. I am there.
As they should be loved. As they should be loved.
Correct. And you need to get the pet supplies and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, people delivering food, but what about the things that I need to get for my pets and stuff? Is there somebody providing that kind of solution that I can just dial up and get these things? There are opportunities there. And you made a point earlier on about not because someone else is in the space mean that you can't do it. And I just wanted to go back to that point because I know earlier on I said, try to look at how you can be unique and not just look at a copycat solution. And I want to qualify that a little bit because you are 100% correct. You can go into a space and more than likely you're going to end up into a space where someone else is providing a solution, right? Because there's nothing really unique under the sun anymore. Everybody could do the same thing kind of way, right? So there are good chances that someone else will already be in the space. But what you have to do is what we call identify the gap in the market. That is, what problem are people still experiencing despite the solutions that are currently available? And that's where you should start. You should start fixing what hasn't been fixed yet. So it creates a meaningful opportunity for you. And that is where you have the opportunity to be unique, even in a space where others exist.
Yeah, you just went into a marketing segmentation conversation there, and I was going to go in that space, but I was like, nah. Let me hold up because then we're talking niche and no. Let's just go through a few of the comments here. Anissa Lewis, totally agree with the upskilling. We mentioned that earlier. You know, you're never too old to learn, regardless of what your grandmother says. It is important as an individual and more so as an entrepreneur to develop new skills or to be open to learning new things continuously. That is really awesome advice, and we could not agree more. We have a question by Elizabeth. We're just going to ask it and then we're going to answer it in the break. Elizabeth, great discussion. What about things to look out for, that is red flags, that when a so-called opportunity presents itself, you can dodge a bullet? Every time I see Forex. These opinions are my own, guys. These opinions are my own. All right, so we'll answer Elizabeth's question, and I have another one from Susan as well. So we will be right back. Welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that covers the need to revive, survive, and adapt to the new normal of COVID-19. Today, we're discussing how to identify business opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago, which, let me just translate that to you. We need to retire before we get too old. All right? And we're here with Mrs. Nichole Joseph-Cupid. And trust me when I say you're not going to find these conversations anywhere. I mean, literally, I look for them. I can't find them anywhere. So make sure to follow us on Facebook. I know some of you may follow us and not like us, but that's okay. Once you get a notification when we go live on Thursdays at 10 a.m., I'm happy with that. Make sure to put your comments in the section at the bottom, because we have Nichole for another exactly 10 more minutes, right? And I don't know about you, I've learned a lot in this conversation, and you may need to rewind this. All right, so let's go back to Elizabeth's question, and she wants to know what to look out for when these so-called opportunity presents themselves, because they're usually silent in DMs and like, Nichole, what are these red flags looking like?
Anytime I tell you you're going to make money real quick, dodge that bullet. unrealistic. Yes, we all want to make money and we're all enthusiastic in terms of changing our lives, but there's no quick fix in business. From the time it comes with quick attached to it, when it comes with very, very high returns in a short period of time, that is usually a good indicator that you want to dodge that bullet, because there's no business person that will disagree when I say to you that there is no accelerated, Wallafield racing course way to making money. It is a discipline. It is a consistent working over a period of time, and it accumulates over time, right? So any solution that comes that says you're going to make real money, no, I'm thinking short-sighted. Of course, we do have options where you may have a one-time event that you can make a decent return. But when we're thinking long-term business opportunities, there's definitely no quick fix.
Say it again for the people in the back of the classroom. Those last words. Say it.
There are definitely no quick fixes. Yeah, you have to work for it. It is a discipline. It is going to accumulate over time. You're going to get there, but you're going to be patient enough. Yeah.
Leslie Ann is bringing out facts. Yes, I completely agree. All right. So we have another question from Susan, and I love this question because my entire team is, I don't even know if they what Sesame Street growing up. What advice would you give to a young person in business at the moment?
All right. So for the younger person, it is a spin-off of the advice that I gave just now about the quick fixes. One of the problems that we have in life, and I have it physically, is that we're short-sighted. So we think about today, but I'm sure a lot of bankers would agree one of the problems that business owners suffer with is that ability to put together a plan that says, what am I going to be doing 36 months down the road? And that is, that forces you to have a little bit more of a long-range vision. Long-range vision is very important. Don't try to wing it. Business is not something that you can wing. Business success is the reward of those who are diligent, who are disciplined, and who take the time and dedicate it to effective planning. Know your who, what, when, where, why, and how. You have to go through it. You have to take the time. It is better to invest in planning than it is to just try a thing, as we put it in Trini. Try a thing. Yes? So if you want to find success, take the time to plan, take the time to get feedback. So find someone that you can use as a sounding board that will give you the feedback. Never discount getting proper guidance and expertise. If you need a proper coach or a mentor to help you along the way, it's all worth it in terms of the success that you would experience at the end of the journey.
That I feel that advice, I know that advice can be applied in everything we do, may it be work and school and life. And, during the entire history, there's nobody who has left a huge mark on the world and disrupted the world. None of them did it like that. Yeah. And it's so important for us to be mindful of that in a world that gives us such instant gratification on social media. All right, so we're gonna head off and close off today, and I would like you to give your final thoughts on the opportunities, business opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. What's your biggest takeaway? If they just joined us, they missed everything. What's the one thing that they should take away from the opportunities that exist in Trinidad and Tobago?
So essentially, if you want a business that will give you the lifestyle of your dreams, and I mean, we all do this, we work very hard because we want to improve our lives. Start by seeking to provide meaningful solutions to daily problems.
I feel like you need to say that again because it really has to be reiterated.
All
And I
right.
feel that is so important. Say that again, Nichole.
So if you want a business that will give you the lifestyle of your dreams, yeah, so you're working hard and you want to improve your standard of living and you want to enjoy all the bling and the glamour and the everything that comes with success, you must start that journey by providing a meaningful solution to daily problems. Yeah.
And with that definitely piece of gold of advice, I want to say thank you to Nichole Joseph-Cupid for joining us today. And it has been, based on the comments, it's been definitely a great session for everybody. Elizabeth says, thanks for the great segment by Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Appreciate you joining us, Elizabeth. And again, thank you so much to Nichole Joseph-Cupid for joining us today and sharing how to identify business opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. Head over to her business website. The links are in the comment section on both YouTube and Facebook. And if you want to learn more about her, check out her LinkedIn profile. Again, the links are all in the comment section. Thanks again to Nichole. And be sure to join us on September the 9th, same time, 10 a.m. and same place, Facebook and YouTube, because if you are a job seeker, this is definitely the event for you. If you're not looking for a job, but you have friends who are looking for a job, you need to join us on the 9th because we are talking about the strategies of relaunching your career with our guests, Laurel Quintral Thomas, the founder and chairman of Regency Recruitment and Resources Limited. I will put the sign up in the links in comment section. As always, be sure to like and follow our page on Facebook so you don't miss a single live show. Thank you for joining us today, and I will see you on the 9th, 10 a.m. Don't forget, right? I'm going to be here. Oh, and mask up, please. Sanitize. Yeah? Bye, everybody.